Alright, let's do this. I'm in the process of making tea. And I always forget how the iMovie, oh no, I pulled that thing off. How the iMovie, it makes that noise before it records. And my baby's sleeping, so I probably shouldn't have made that noise. And also why, if I'm talking quietly, it's because she's been asleep for maybe almost an hour now, and she knows my voice better than anything, so I try not to be loud. My voice, it carries, what's that? The timbre? Is that what it is? Timbre, T-I-M-B-R-E, of my voice? I don't know if that's even a word, but it came to me. Something about that. I tend to have a lower, raspy voice. I don't know. That's what I think. It doesn't matter. Anyway, hi. I'm Ronan Elliott. Thanks for coming to my channel. Welcome back if you've already been here. Welcome if you've never been here. You can watch some of my other videos. Everything I do is just a lot of talking, just a lot of free-flowing consciousness. That's kind of my thing. I always have some general idea of what I want to say, but I really never know exactly what I'm going to say. I don't have the luxury to plan it out, and I just don't have the it doesn't work for me. I've said that before, so that's good enough. And ew, I have something on my foot. Oh, I don't like that. Why did I see that? Oh god, I shouldn't have touched it. Okay, anyway, I'm getting distracted. I am in a new recording location today, if you couldn't see. I'm actually in my kitchen right now, just because my bab is sleeping, and I wanted to get a little bit farther away from her to do this. And I don't know, I've just been having a lot of feels for the past couple days, every day for my whole life, right? Because I'm a human and I feel. Although I really do feel that I feel more than a lot of people. And I think I've spent most of my life feeling like that was a weakness and there was really something wrong with me. And I'm finally beginning to understand that it's like my greatest strength and it's what I'm here for. Whether or not other people have always understood it, or whether or not I have even understood it for most of my life, I know that I'm here to help. I'm here to feel. Part of my design is to feel and to really feel everything. And it's been chaotic, obviously. I think we're all born into these bodies, like our vehicles of life, and in whatever contracts we made before we came here, you know, it's like you pick a car, like back in those racing games where it was like, okay, this one's fast, but the maneuverability is really bad. Like it doesn't handle, it's very sensitive. Or this one's slower, but it's easy to drive. I don't know, that kind of thing. It brakes better. The faster one accelerates faster, you know. And there's positives and negatives to all of that, and each one serves a purpose depending on your needs. And I guess what I'm getting at is that each of us serve a purpose. It's just depending on that need. So some of us are race cars, some of us are minivans. I don't know what I am. I just know that I feel a lot, and that's what I'm meant to do. I had done a past life regression back in March as one of my many gifts to myself, because I love to love me. I haven't always done that. I've always felt a lot of shame even about saying something like that, but I love to celebrate myself, and I wish that other people did that more. And I don't even mean it in like necessarily a monetary way, but just like really knowing that I deserve whatever I want in whatever form, you know, and obviously within limits. I'm not trying to infringe upon the rights of other people or anything like that. But when I did this past life regression, one of the things that came out of me, I mean, there was a lot of random stuff, but one of the things that I said was, that my higher self said was that I need to stop biting my nails, which I've actually, over the past year, gotten better at. I chew them, but not to the nubs like I used to. Like, they're short, but they're not disgusting. I've literally chewed off like entire nails before. So I have made like improvements in that area. But the thing that I said in this past life regression was that I need to heal my hands. I need to fix them because my hands are made for healing. And how what I connected in that afterwards was basically, part of the reason I've always chewed my hands is out of anxiety and nervousness, and something that's been with me my whole life. Never really understood, and it's always made me very embarrassed about my hands, and I don't want to show them to anyone. I remember when I was dating someone at one point, or probably many times, these nails, these ones here, these ones, would always be like really down to the cuticle. It was disgusting. I mean, honestly, I was disgusted by the level of destruction that I could cause on my own body, and I never wanted people to see that. And so, like, if I would be with a guy and he would want to hold my hand or something, I would put like tape, a band-aid over my finger, or I would pull my hand away. But just realizing how much like my hands gave me anxiety because I chewed them, and I couldn't really ever connect with people when they were so bitten up, But that so much of that has kept me from actually ever being able to use my hands freely in the ways that I think that they are intended to be used. And so when I said that in my past life regression, like I said, it wasn't the thing that I expected to say. I mean, so much of what I said, I did not expect to say. I thought I was going to find some cool past life where I was an alien, or I was a geisha in Japan, and I may well have been, but the things that I picked up on, it wasn't that. I mean, one of the other things was that I was a man in my last life in about the 1800s in Cork, Ireland, and I was an alcoholic. I lived a very sad life. I was orphaned at a young age. I mean, I could really go into it, but I won't, not to bore you. But basically, it really proved to me that the things that I was saying were not the things that I would say if I just was making it up. Because like I said, I would pick something more glamorous, more glorious, more like, wow, I was fucking Einstein or something, But it was so, like, in a way, like, mundane in my mind, and it really kind of challenged me to, like, what does that mean? Like, because obviously I believe these things or I wouldn't be doing them. And if that was me, if that is me, if it's always been me, like, then I love that person too. And how it kind of just forced me to change, like, my perspective, I think, on things. Like, oh, it's so what if I wasn't a geisha or something? If being an alcoholic Irish man in the 1800s in Cork, like, that's also somebody. I don't know how to explain it. It gave me more of an appreciation, I guess, and not always needing to be something so, like, it was like I was the thing that I never wanted to be, which is strange. Like, I never would have wanted to be a fucking European white man, and yet I was. But again, I'm getting off topic, not that there is one. But it was just those things that came out, that my hands are meant for healing. And I've been thinking a lot about that. I really know at my core, as I've been kind of going through this spiritual process, ascension, whatever, healing, enlightenment, all of the words, that I am meant to heal, and I'm meant to feel, and it's going to be my hands. I know it's going to be Reiki. I know that. And I haven't pursued it, one, because of during the pandemic, but also I respect Reiki and I respect energy exchange so much that I don't want to be trained in it until I feel I'm really in a sustainable place with myself energetically. Like, I know I wouldn't want to be receiving Reiki from somebody that was, like, all over the place chaotic. And I also don't want to be that person with someone else. So it's been a little bit of a discipline for myself, aside from the situation with the pandemic, of, like, wanting to wait till the time was right. And I feel that time is coming. It's not tomorrow, I know that, but I do know that I'm working on my healing, the equilibrium. Everything's become much smoother, in the past year since I took the step to leave my partner and my abuser. It hasn't been easy, but it's been markedly better. And I mean, it's been amazing, honestly. And I'm excited for the future. For the first time in my life, I feel like I have a direction. I feel like I have ideas, and they come from genuine, like, places in my core. They're sustainable. It's not somebody else's idea of what I need to be, or something that I think would be glamorous and give me power. It's like the things that really speak to me at my core. And I'm not going to get into all of them. Reiki was just probably the most top of mind, like the next thing I will be doing, because I know tarot, I know astrology, and I like all those things, but there's also a part of me that has so much respect for the level of knowledge that you need with that, and those would not be the things that I would run to as services to provide people, because I do respect them so much, and I don't ever want to mislead people and do something just for the sake of making money. I want to be able to do something that's like a fair exchange for a service that I can offer that will ultimately help people. And I think Reiki will be that as the next step, and I'm excited. And, yesterday was Father's Day, and I find that, like in the past year, a lot of these holidays, I mean, obviously, have taken on really new meaning for me now that I have a child, and I'm, a single mother with a child. The holidays before were always times of joy, and they still are, but like growing up, I have a mom and a dad. I grew up with a nuclear family, married together, not perfect, but for the most part happy. And I know that when I decided I wanted to have a child, and I'd wanted to have a child since probably I was about 27, and when it finally happened with my daughter, and I was finally able to go through with it, it really became apparent to me how important, like through the pregnancy, it was for me, for her to have a stable nuclear family like I had growing up. So I think part of why I stayed with my partner and allowed for the abuse to just fucking continue was because I was so desperate to hold on to this idea of this paradise that I had to recreate for her based on my own experiences, and really coming to the realization that trying to keep that idea alive and together, that reality, was going to be at the expense of everything, at the expense of myself, at the expense of her, at her well-being, my well-being, and even his. He was miserable too in his own right, obviously, or he wouldn't have behaved the way he did, And so part of it was like holding on to this thing so hard because it was so important for me to have this, and then realizing, I think in hindsight, how grateful and thankful and happy and blessed that I am to have like let it go, In the moment, it didn't feel good. It felt like fucking death. It felt like death for the entire year and a half I was with him. And it's like I always knew it would end from the first day. And it was like that feeling of not wanting to let it go, but knowing that I had to from the beginning, But I think when these holidays come around, like a Father's Day or something, for me, always growing up, it was like, yeah, I have my dad. I'm going to celebrate him. And I did, and I do. But when these holidays come around, and then I see, like, on Instagram, my friends, who I have about 5 or 6 friends now that have kids, which I'm grateful. I'm lucky that I have friends that have kids, that I can share, that are around my daughter's age. And, like, on a day like Father's Day, it's a lot of posts about their partners, and how great they are. And it's all these men, these dads, and it's really beautiful. Like, I know a lot of them personally, like their partners too, and I know that they're good men at their core. And I'm really happy for them. Like, I'm really happy that those children will have a mom and a dad that love each other, at least now at this point. I don't know about the future, but I hope, I want that for people if that's what they want. And I think it always makes me a little bit, well, not always, but it has now in this past year, I realize it makes me sad. There's a bit of grief in these holidays that pass, because it's not so much mourning what I lost, because I have that. I have a dad. I have a mom and a dad that love each other, but it's a reminder of what I could not give my daughter, and that hurts me. I think I feel, and I'm working through it, but almost like, on one hand, it was the best thing I ever did for her, but I also feel bad that I had to do it, because staying or trying to make that work in whatever way he would have allowed me to exist in his life would have been a nightmare for her as a child. So it wouldn't have even been a good outcome to give her a mom and a dad where the dad fucking hates the mother and never cares about her, and the mom is just despondent and an emotional wreck from all of the psychological torture. And so I realize now in hindsight, like, how beautiful it is that this all came to pass this way, and that it was always meant to be this way, whether I knew it or not, consciously. You know, like, I didn't set out in the beginning thinking, and I want him to get me pregnant because I want to leave him and I want to do this alone. Like, that was never a thought. I was so desperate to keep him because I loved him, and I've said I will always love him. I will always love my boyfriend before, you know, but it's like a different kind of love. Like, it's not an in love, it's not a romantic, it's like a love that I have for everybody, but also it's specific to them. I've talked about it before, but it really kind of triggered me when I found out that my ex found these videos and was watching them, because like, that message wasn't meant for him. It wasn't, if it was meant for him, I would have sent it to him. I would have made it so that he would find it, like, because I don't, it was so sickening to think that he saw that and thought like, oh, she loves me, you know, because it's like, fuck you, you know, like, you're not getting the point. Like, I love what you gave me. I'm thankful that you gave me her. I'm sorry that you couldn't wake up in time. I'm sorry that you lost this. I'm sorry that I had to leave. And I'm sorry that I'll never come back. I am. Like, there's a part of me that will always ache and care for that fucking sad little boy that's alone and chooses to be alone, though. Like, that's what I had to realize, is like, I can't make somebody want something that they don't want. I couldn't force him to like understand what our daughter was until he was ready. If he ever is ready, I don't know. Like, only he can know that. But I think for myself, being pregnant, like actually having the baby, growing her, giving birth to her, it allowed me a lot of a head start. It started changing me long before maybe he was even affected by it. I don't think he really started to care on some level until like she was born, and maybe more so now that she's becoming a person in his mind, you know. But I always knew she was a person because she was in me. And I'm grateful that I had that realization and that I had that head start, you know, but it doesn't make it easy. It doesn't, it's bittersweet, you know, and I know that on these holidays, at least for this first year, maybe it won't be every year, but this first Christmas, this first Mother's Day, this first, really any kind of like family holiday, it's been sad, like, but not in a way that I'm like distraught and crying and want him back or wish it was different. Evie, stop. Evie, stop. But more in a way that I'm sorry that it had to happen that way. That's just it. I don't want to change it. I don't even wish it would have happened differently, because I couldn't imagine it being differently at this point. This is how it was meant to be, and this is how I want it, you know? I want my daughter. I want to raise her to be a strong woman, and I am the one that will do that, you know? That's my job as her mother, is to model what a woman is, or whatever she chooses to be, non-binary, agender, male, you know? I don't even know what I am at this point. I mean, I consider myself female, but also non-binary, also agender. I mean, I really don't. I know I present as female mostly, but also very androgynous and masculine. You know, I can take this shit off. And, I don't know. I think, like, if I put my hair back, I kind of make a hot dude on some level. I don't know. And that used to be something I was very insecure about, like being misgendered or being seen as masculine or any of those things. And now I just don't fucking care. I think I'm beautiful regardless, like just a beautiful spirit. It's not even about like this. It's not even about like all of this perfect and imperfect as it is. It's about like what's coming in here, you know? I try not to get emotional in these videos. I try to be protective of my vulnerability because I know that people have used it against me a lot. But I feel so much love in this moment, and I feel so much gratitude. So much to be alive and to be in this exact position in this very moment. Like, I'm just so grateful everything happened as it did. I'm so lucky, and I would have never known that if you would have told me that a year ago. You know, I think like this morning I woke up, and I've been in this place now. I moved here June 26th of last year, so I'm coming up on a year. And at that point, my daughter was barely, like, I think 3 or 4 weeks old. Or no, she would have been older. She would have been 5 weeks old when we moved. But it was all so new, and everything was so chaotic, you know? And I have a lot of grief for that. I have a lot of like mourning or grieving for the old person like I used to be. And I haven't said this before, but I'll say it now. You know, my legal name, not my full name, but my name is Neela. You know, I haven't always been Ronan. Ronan is my higher self. Ronan is my eternal self. But I haven't always known Ronan existed. I've known myself as Neela, as the legal name I was given. And Neela was so weak. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. Like, she was so fragile, and she was so broken, and she was so desperate to be loved and for somebody to love her, because she didn't love herself, you know? And it wasn't her fault. It was conditioning. It was part of the game of life, what she was supposed to overcome, who she was supposed to become, you know? So I don't fault her. I don't judge her. Neela needed to crawl so that Ronan could walk, could fly, you know? So I don't judge her for any of those things that she did. They all had to happen for Ronan to be here today. But I think about her, and I think about, like, when I woke up this morning, and I know, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. It's been a long day. Just whatever. Fucking don't watch it if you don't care. I don't care. When I woke up this morning and I came into the kitchen here, I could feel like it was a year ago. Evie's doing that to my computer. Please don't. I don't know what you need. Do you need food? Do you need comforting on any level? No, she's just gonna be a pain. Whatever. But when I moved here, you know, everything was so chaotic. Like 2 weeks later, I had kicked out my partner, you know. And so this place at the time still felt so foreign, because I had left my old place that was like a paradise that I had worked very hard on, and had become destroyed by our toxicity, by our relationship. I mean, just all the fighting, all of the bad energy in that place. I could never go back to it, you know? And this place was like a clean slate, you know? And that's part of why I ended it so quickly, because I'm like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not having this fucking poltergeist follow me to this new home. Like, I want to be done with it. I want a clean start. I want a fresh break. I want a fresh start, a clean break. I don't want his memories all over this place, you know? And luckily that's been the case. Like, this is my space. I don't really have memories of him here, and I'm thankful for that. But when I look back on that time, I feel so sad for Neela. Like, she had just given birth, and she had given birth to somebody that did not love her and did not care for her at all. Like, during the pregnancy, during the delivery, after. I mean, that person went through the motions for Neela, but it was like the bare minimum. Like, I realize now, in knowing what love is, because I love myself now, how little love I actually was getting, but how normalized it had become from the psychological abuse, that I had accepted it, that it's like all that I thought I deserved, you know? And how I just wish I could hug that person, you know? I wish I could hug me then, because I love me. I love that beautiful, broken little bird that just wanted somebody to see me and love me. And it wasn't until going through all that like, I realized I had to see myself. I had to love myself. And I do now, you know? I love Neela, and I love Ronan, and I see Neela in Ronan. And it's just been all of that. Like, at one time, those were memories that I clung to of like signs of love. Like, the day that I became pregnant with Luna, I know very specifically because it was that day, that night, that my partner said to me very flippantly, "I'm going to give you a child, so you'll shut up for the next 25 years." And I knew he meant it because he never said anything with any, definitiveness. Everything was ambiguous with him. That was partially how he kept control, because I always wanted a real answer, and the fact that he wouldn't give me one always just kept me on the fence waiting, like, what's going to happen? And when he said it in that day, I knew that he was going to give me the baby. And all I could think of was like, yay, I'm getting the baby, thank God, And looking back on it now, I have a very different feeling about that memory. I feel now like I can't believe that I thought that that's what I deserved. Like, that someone that loved me would talk to me in that way, that I thought that that was love. Like, that was what I deserved. Because I know now that, like, if I ever am with someone again, and I want to be in time, I don't right now. Like, I just don't have time, and I don't want it. If it came to me tomorrow, it would be a disaster. Because I'm not ready. I don't have space for it. But back then, when I wanted it so badly, I was just willing to have it any way that it was given to me, I kind of lost my train of thought. It's been a long day, like I said. Maybe I should drink this tea. But I do have this feeling that, and I don't have to, but I think I could have another kid. Like, I think I'm on the fence. It wouldn't be now. It would be within the next 10 years. If it's meant to be. At the same time, I could totally see it playing out where I only ever have my daughter, and I'm perfectly happy with that. In a way, I love that idea too, of her being my only one. I would be fine with that. But I also feel in my core, and knowing that I know what I know always, I think there will be another. And I think that's kind of the point. I mean, I think I had to go through this so that I could really find the real love that's waiting for me. And I think about this future someday with someone. I don't know who they will be, male, female, whatever. But that if that happens, I will get pregnant again, and I will be with someone that really loves me and celebrates me. And I'll be able to have that experience that I really deserved and wanted. And if I don't, I'm okay with it. But I see it, I feel it, that I know she's not going to be the only one. It's not even something on some level that I'm almost like, oh God, I'm going to have another kid. Like, but if that's what's meant to be, like, yeah. I want her to be a sibling. I don't want her to be alone in this life. When I'm gone, when her dad's gone, I know she'll have my family, but I want her to have her own family. And I know that I will give that to her when the time is right. I'll make her a big sister maybe, and she will have a step parent that will love her, and she will have that nuclear family in time. Like, if it's meant to be, I don't know. It's like, it's just this beautiful feeling that I have. And it's like impossible to think, because I couldn't imagine having another child that isn't her. Like, but I also feel like it's in the cards. I don't know. I'm really rambling at this point, and this video is a half hour long. I don't feel like I said anything succinctly or was very articulate, and I could apologize for that, but that's not the point. It's just, this is all for me. It's always been for me. I just didn't know it. I was always trying to do it for someone else. If no one fucking watches this, I don't care. I don't want my ex to watch it. I hope he doesn't. I made my Instagram private because I'm just done. Like, I really want him to know. I really want you to know if you're watching. And I don't want you to look at my stuff anymore. I'm really gone to you. Like, we're done. And you need to accept that. But I hope that you don't watch this anymore, because I really want to be left alone. I really want to know that I can say everything that I want to say, and you have absolutely no interest in what I'm saying. And I think that's what I've struggled with recently, is knowing that he does watch me, and it's kind of made me feel trapped again. But I'm working through it. I made my Instagram private, and I'm going to do what I need to do to get away. Because I'm not his anymore. I'm not under his control. I don't love him like that anymore. I don't want to be another horse in the stable. I don't want to be a pawn. I don't want to be a toy. I'm a free agent. I'm my own person. I'm someone's mother. That's who I belong to. So I think I'm gonna drink this tea and do some writing. Maybe my brain will work better. I have a few things I've been needing to get down on paper, and if my brain will work properly, maybe I can do that. I'm gonna try and crack my back, but it's not happening. So, all right, I'm gonna end it. Thanks so much to nobody that watched this. I'll watch it in a sec.